It's 2023 as I make this video, and if you're running a startup today and you're not thinking about how you might use tokens, you're missing a trick. Several tricks actually. In the next 5 minutes, I'll cover all the major use cases you might find for tokens in a modern startup, most of which apply even if your startup has no inherent connection to Web3, so you can make a conscious, knowledgeable decision how and whether to use them. Tokens are essentially ownership records. They are immutable tokens stored on a decentralized, distributed blockchain, which say unambiguously that entity A issued token B and is now owned by person C. The power and the versatility of the NFT technology is that this can apply to any kind of property, not just coins. So far, it's been mostly used for art. Artist A makes a piece of art, token B points to or includes that piece of art, and collector C buys it. This is straightforward and everyone can understand it, and it solves the need for a global digital art marketplace, and that's why it's taken off. But it's not very interesting to startups. Another use that's more relevant to startups is so-called in-game items. When you pick up a precious item in an online game, there's a database on that game server that says we made item B and now person C owns it. If you sell it back to the game for in-game currency, that line is now deleted. If you trade it to another player, the ownership now goes from person C to person D. With tokens, that can possibly be done better by having all those transactions happen on a blockchain. Just make the items, let people trade them however they want, and focus your development efforts on just making a great game. If you do this on a blockchain that enforces royalties, you might even make additional income from those trades, which itself is pretty neat. Sadly, as of today, art and ponzis are the only use cases that have seen some real traction, but there are many other ways that you could use tokens. Remember how they are basically just ownership records. Let's say you sell special access to your product. For example, lifetime memberships as a way to front-load revenues. Those can be sold for more money up front if they are transferable and tradable. So if you make them into tokens instead of just manually recording the email addresses of your early fans, people might pay more for those lifetime memberships. Anytime when you're pre-selling something that isn't used up immediately, in fact, it might make sense to have a token. Tickets are one use case that's definitely on the way. But even taking a software as a service model, again, even expiring memberships could be tokens. And some startups are already doing that. Don't want your membership token anymore? You can just sell it on to somebody who wants it. If it's a token, the token can include expiry dates so that people know what they're buying. Many startups took over a market simply by offering a different purchasing model. NFTs open up the field of purchasing models even wider. Some ambitious startups will for sure use them to disrupt stodgy old incumbents. Could the product of your startup itself be a token? Maybe. Some so-called NFT projects tried that during the NFT bubble. So far, none have really nailed the model. Every successful NFT project is so far just a Ponzi that hasn't failed yet. But many are trying, using tokens to combine benefits like community, education, access, identity, and software tools. Where they all fall down so far is that none of them have cracked the recurring revenue problem. If your token is the product and you sell it just once, how do you keep offering the benefits associated with the token after the money runs out? Token as a product doesn't seem to mix well with token as a speculative investment. That said, just because no one has established a sustainable model yet, doesn't mean no one ever will. So this could be a fruitful area to explore too. One interesting use case that I'm myself working on in my startup, Investables, is to use tokens as a fundraising mechanism. I believe they can work very well as a packaging for equity that makes it more valuable and interesting to people other than traditional investors. It's a completely new kind of crowdfunding, in short. If you have a large audience that wants to buy into what you do, you might issue a token that literally gives them an ownership stake in your new business, along with other benefits like special access and community that don't cost anything on an ongoing basis. This could have several benefits, like creating an even more engaged audience of superfans, raising more money, giving up less control of the business, and creating more liquidity for your traditional investors. Before you can use tokens in any of these ways, though, you need a real startup that's solving a real problem. That's not as hard as it sounds if you get into the habit of generating ideas. The downfall of many of those NFT projects from the bubble of 21 and 22 is that they used tokens to fundraise for projects that had not identified any actual problems they wanted to solve, other than, raising money. So they raised money and then they just sat around trying to find a real problem to solve. Those that didn't run away with the money, that is. If you want to go about this the right way, but you're not sure what to work on, luckily I've made a video which in the next 5 minutes will teach you how to never run out of good ideas again. Check it out right here. GM and good luck.